My stepmother slept with my husband, and my parents are getting divorced. She found out that all of his property is in my name. It all started when I was 6 years old. My world changed forever. It was my parents' anniversary, a day that should have been filled with joy and celebration. Instead, it was marked by devastating news that cast a shadow over our family. My mom had been diagnosed with cancer. At the time, I didn't understand what cancer was. My parents, wanting to protect me from worry, chose not to explain the severity of her illness. They shielded me from the harsh realities, hoping to preserve my innocence a little longer. Despite their efforts, the atmosphere at home grew heavy with concern and sadness. Over the next 4 months, I watched as my mom battled her illness. Though I didn't fully grasp what was happening, I could sense the fear and uncertainty that lingered in every room. My once vibrant and energetic mom became weak and frail. The change was frightening and confusing for a child who couldn't comprehend why her mother was suffering. One day, after months of watching her endure pain and exhaustion, the unthinkable happened. My mom passed away. The news struck me like a bolt of lightning. The grief was overwhelming, a tidal wave of emotions that I was too young to process. In the midst of my shock and despair, I fainted and had to be rushed to the hospital. Because of this, I didn't attend my mom's funeral. I wasn't there to say goodbye, to share in the collective mourning of friends and family, or to find some semblance of closure. Instead, I lay in a hospital bed, grappling with a loss that felt incomprehensible. After years of loneliness, my father married a young lady named Emily. She was 23 years old when I was 17, and she became my stepmother. At this time, I started dating my husband, Jimmy. The first time I brought him home, my father was out, and it was just my stepmother, Emily, who was there to greet us. Emily seemed to really like Jimmy, perhaps a bit too much. She started flirting with him right in front of me. At the time, I wasn't very good at picking up on such signals, so I didn't realize what was happening. After dinner, as we sat in Jimmy's car, he told me that my stepmom had been flirting with him and trying to hit on him. I was in disbelief and said, "No, she would never do that." Jimmy didn't push the issue any further. We went out for ice cream and enjoyed the rest of our evening. Afterward, he dropped me back home, and we said goodnight. After 3 more years of dating, Jimmy proposed to me, and I said yes. I was overjoyed and couldn't wait to share the news with my parents and friends. Everyone was so happy for us, and we decided to throw a big party to celebrate our engagement. The party was going wonderfully until my stepmother, Emily, decided to talk to my fiancé. She questioned him, asking if he really wanted to marry me. She went further, spreading rumors about me, trying to sow seeds of doubt in his mind. Fortunately, Jimmy didn't believe her. He knew me well and trusted in our love and commitment. We went ahead with our plans and got married right after my college graduation. I was 1 year younger than Jimmy, so he had graduated a year before me. Our wedding was magnificent, a beautiful and memorable day that we both cherished deeply. It truly was the best day of my life, surrounded by our loved ones and filled with joy and celebration. 3 months after our marriage, I discovered a heartbreaking truth. My husband had slept with my stepmother. I found out by going through Jimmy's texts and immediately confronted him before telling anyone else. When I confronted Jimmy, he was devastated and explained that he never wanted to sleep with my stepmother. He told me how it all happened. One day, they met randomly at the mall. Emily approached him and claimed that my father wanted to talk to him. Personally, without my knowledge. Believing her, Jimmy went with her to my parents' house. Once there, Emily offered him coffee, saying that my father would be there shortly. After drinking the coffee, Jimmy started feeling dizzy and lost control of his faculties. He explained that this was how Emily took advantage of him, leading to the incident. My stepmother then threatened him, warning that if he tried to tell anyone what had happened, she would accuse him of drugging her and assaulting her. Jimmy was terrified and felt trapped by her threats, which is why he hadn't told me sooner. Hearing his explanation, I felt a mix of anger, betrayal, and sorrow. It was a painful situation, and I knew we had a difficult path ahead in dealing with the consequences of my stepmother's actions and the impact on our marriage. After our conversation, he told me he was gathering evidence to prove his innocence. He showed it to me, and together we confronted my stepmother in the presence of my father. When my father saw the evidence, he was enraged. He and my stepmother began fighting, and in his fury, my father demanded a divorce. During their divorce proceedings, my stepmother discovered that all of my father's property and businesses were in my name, leaving him with nothing directly under his own name. This revelation infuriated her, and she turned her anger toward both my father and me. In a heated moment, she confessed that she had married my father solely for his money and was now furious that she wouldn't be getting anything from the settlement. After the divorce was finalized, my father decided to gift me everything he had. This gesture was his way of ensuring that our family's legacy and assets remained intact and secure. Now, without the deceitful presence of my stepmother, my father and I have found a renewed sense of peace and happiness. We are closer than ever, and our bond as a family has never been stronger.